Well, hello. The little sign says I am live. So I will trust what the little sign says that I am live. So, hi, this is me right now, waving my hand live and in person. So, today, it being the third Sunday of the month and my turn to lead the mindful collective meditation, I was just thinking about some misconceptions regarding these practices. And I will just call it the path of Vipassana. And Vipassana is a word in the Pali language, Pali, was the language of the original Buddhist texts. Now, whether the Buddha spoke Pali, we do not know, but the original texts were in this language. And the word Vipassana basically means to see things clearly as they are. And so that is really the essence of all of these practices. However, if you have been at a checkout stand at a newspaper, at a newspaper, at the checkout stand at a grocery store lately, you've seen headlines in newspapers. You've seen a whole magazine uh, devoted to mindfulness. They say, find inner peace and harmony through mindfulness, as though mindfulness in some way is going to create some effect. And this is probably a pretty normal expectation because we take a pill and it has an effect. We take an aspirin maybe and some body ache or headache or something like that diminishes. We take a benzodiazepine and it calms the limbic system. And so we might chill out a little bit, whatever it might be. There's always this sense of cause and effect. And folks approach these practices, the Vipassana practice that I'm going to teach this morning, which is basically just mindfulness meditation, by the way. Mindfulness meditation is sort of the Western way of saying Vipassana, that I'm going to teach this and something's going to happen to you. And this is going to change you. And you are going to become calm, and your mind is going to become clear and quiet. And there will be happiness, and whatever you're worried about right now, you won't be worried about. And I want to say, first of all, nothing is going to change during these practices because of Vipassana, because of seeing things clearly. The only thing that changes is how we perceive the experience that we're actually having. Now, if I suggested, let's all just sit quietly, and if you want to, you can close your eyes for the next 25 minutes, what would you expect to happen? Well, you'd have physical sensations, you'd have thoughts, you'd hear sounds. There would be other sensory experiences that you would have. The mind would go into all kinds of different thought patterns and so forth. This is basically the same experience that you have during any Vipassana meditation. The only difference is the way we pay attention to these experiences. So do not look to these practices to cause anything. Do not look to these practices to make you peaceful and harmonic, whatever that might mean. Just look at these practices as a way to teach and gently train you to see things clearly as they are. Ram Dass was once asked, after all of the psychedelics, after all of the yoga you did, after all the meditation you did with Neem Karoli Baba in India, has this helped you? What was the effect? And he paused for a moment and he said, I think what it's done is it's made me a connoisseur of my neuroses. And that's what we become. We're able to see these things clearly as they are. This is simply something that's going on in my body. This is simply an electrochemical stimulation in my brain that I call a thought. This is simply a movement of energy in my body that I call an emotion. This is simply a vibration in the air that I call a sound. And when we see these things clearly as they are, then the doorway is open for less suffering. Because it's not the thing itself that often causes the suffering, it's the way we relate to it. And Vipassana offers us a new way to relate to these experiences, but not to change them. So don't look for some kind of success. Don't look for an end of the road where it's like, okay, I'm done. And there's a little sign that says, you've made it. You can stop now. As one of my teachers once said, there's no hope for retirement here. So we just keep practicing all the time. It's not that we should be mindful all the time either. This is really just about being able to turn off that automatic reactive autopilot and turn on mindfulness whenever we want it. It's going to happen countless times, even in this practice. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, here we go. Enough yapping. So it might be helpful in the beginning to just let go of expectations of results. We don't know what's going to happen, even in the next 10 or 20 seconds. So just let whatever happens arise, see it as clearly as you can. So we might want to create some conditions for maybe some ease in the body. So make sure you're well supported in whatever posture you choose, including lying down, semi-recumbent, whatever it might be. And you can close the eyes if that's comfortable, or simply gaze downward, or gaze toward a wall, or look at a tree. It isn't that if we do everything right, if we learn how to do all this stuff correctly, something will happen. Well, it's happening right now. Now let's learn to pay attention to it. Feeling those places where you're making contact with a chair or cushion or bed, whatever it might be. And you have now become mindful. You have learned to pay attention to this experience just now. Perhaps deepening the experience into the body a little bit. Here's where we might encounter tightness or tension. Here's where we might notice any levels or qualities of energy that we can notice and name. Maybe the energy is very rapid, almost like a vibration, or maybe it's very slow, like pulsing, or maybe it flows or tingles. Now, these are just some suggested places in which to pay attention. You can look for anything to pay attention to in these practices. You do not have to be guided by a teacher all the time. You can guide yourself. So if you notice something in the body that's of interest or intensity, turn your attention toward that. Or if there's a sound that is particularly interesting or intense. Turn your attention toward that. Or if you'd like to just notice the vastness of mind for a while, do that. And again, these are just suggestions. Find your way to your own practice. And all it is just paying attention to what's happening now, whatever it might be. And it's nothing special, whatever is happening right now. It's just what we would expect to happen. The way we pay attention to it is special. We often suggest finding a sensory object in which you can rest your attention, and in doing so, be aware that you are present. If I'm feeling a sensation in my hands, for example, I know I am present because this is only happening in the present moment. If I'm feeling this breath, I'm present. If I'm hearing this sound, and so forth. So, if you wish, finding for yourself a sensory object, an experience in which you can rest your feeling awareness. And it could be the hands or sounds or the breath or anything else. And as we continue, perhaps noticing what happens when we do pay attention in this way, when we do experience the breath or the sounds or the sensations clearly as they are, what happens to those experiences? They become very special, even though they're nothing special. The way I pay attention to them makes them special because I'm seeing them clearly. I'm seeing the miracle of this breath. I'm seeing the extraordinary, complicated, labyrinthine experience of sound as it comes into my ear and changes into stimulation in my brain and informs me what the sound is, what's making the sound, and so forth. This makes things pretty special. And as we continue, Vipassana is never about trying to control the mind. Vipassana is never about trying to stop the mind from thinking, to empty the mind of thought. It is to experience clearly what is happening in the mind. And if the mind is cluttered, this is what's happening. If the mind is spacious, okay. And since we're not here to control the mind, it's going to start going off onto its own automatic controls, which includes just kind of wandering around, drifting, going into all kinds of thought spaces of memories or fantasies, reruns, rehearsals, whatever it might be. It's just what it does. And of course, this experience offers us the ability to become mindful again. We will see clearly that the attention has drifted. In that moment of seeing clearly, we are mindful. This is Vipassana. We're back. Now we can direct that mindful energy in any direction we wish. Maybe back to the sensations of breathing, or hands, or sounds. Maybe we notice where the mind went. Maybe we notice that there are physical experiences that might come along with certain thoughts. A thought can feel. All of this is here, already here. Vipassana is just about turning on the light and seeing it. And so we'll continue in silence. And if at any time this or any practice becomes overwhelming, You can let the eyes open if they're closed. You can rub your hands together, feel the external sensations. You can shift your position, whatever you need to do to re-regulate yourself, and perhaps then re-entering the practice. And so we'll conclude with 10 minutes of silence. And even the sound of the bell is just a suggested conclusion for these practices. If you would like to continue practicing, go ahead. We need not just always automatically respond to something a teacher says or an app or whatever it might be. And in fact, I highly recommend that you begin practicing without teachers or apps so that you become your own teacher and you're not dependent upon these earbuds or these computers or whatever. You can practice anywhere, anytime, and just see what happens. So, wondering if there are any questions or anything you noticed in that practice or anything you'd like to share, feel free to chat that in. And for those of you who are interested, I have been leading a weekday meditation Monday through Friday since March 17th, 2020. We call ourselves the COVIDian Sangha. And if you're interested, you can write me at the email address here in my little window and I will send you the Zoom link, and that's 8 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. So feel free to do that. Love to have you. We have a number of folks here who are from that particular group, that particular Sangha. Okay. So the awe of being human, says Gwen. Hi, Gwen. Good to see you here. Gwen is one of our regulars on the weekday meditation. This is what actually gets created when we pay attention in this way. When we see things clearly as they are, we can have a little bit of awe that we can actually see something, or feel something or hear something. This is an amazing experience. It's miraculous, even. And if we're not experiencing it, at least sometimes with a little bit of awe, then, well, we're not paying attention. Thank you. Okay, good. Just what you needed. Time to be still and aware. That's right. As much as you can, be still and aware. And hello from Sweden. Hello, Ted. Good to have you here. Remembering that this is recorded and it is posted on the Center for Mindful Living Facebook page. So if you do come in late or you want to review some of what I or any of the other teachers have said, it's always available for you when you do that. Hmm. Anything else? Any questions, comments? Anybody not getting it? There's nothing. There's no it to get. By the way, what I mean is, did I confuse anybody? If there's confusion out there in any of the statements that I made or the instructions that I gave, please let me know. Life feels more vivid and brilliant when I am. Eileen, I don't know if you meant to cut it off there, but that's beautiful. When we are in the present moment, and that's a verb, by the way, you know, this is not a passive practice. This is very active. You are actively deploying your awareness, and that takes a lot of energy. This is not doing nothing. People may look at you while you're sitting or lying or whatever you're doing and practicing, and they may, oh, you're not doing anything. You're actually doing a lot. You do this all day and you do this for like 10 days straight, you're exhausted, right? My email is right here on the screen. Can you see it right here? Roger@rogernolan.com. Maybe you're not using a screen where you can see that. So it's Roger, Roger, at rogernolan, rogernolan.com. Okay. Thank you, Marilla. Hope to see you. Ah, huge hug from Old Continent. Oh, yes, Alex. Hello. Welcome. My pleasure. Okay. Well, for those of you who are fathers, happy Father's Day. Uh, I'm proud to say that this Father's Day is my first Father's Day as the proud father of a trans individual. Yes, it's true. It's quite an exciting time. And happy Juneteenth as well. This is that holiday, and now a federal holiday, thanks to Joe Biden tomorrow. Anything else? I guess we're done here. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. If any of you have any questions or need to get a hold of me, contact me at roger@rogernolan.com, and you'll hear back from me. And I'll send you the link to our weekday practice if you wish. Okay, so bye for now. Thank you. I will be here the third Sunday of July, so I'll see you then, I hope. Until then, just pay attention as best you can. Okay. Bye bye.